Thanks for coming. So STEM Medical is a cell therapy biotech based in Denmark with, as I hope I'll show you guys now, a fairly versatile platform. So our secret sauce is a proprietary IP-protected mesenchymal stem cell manufacturing platform capable of producing 12 to 16 billion mesenchymal stem cells per batch per patient, which I would venture is unprecedented in the field. We do currently so at 10,000 euros per batch, which I would also venture is industry leading, but we actually have a very defined roadmap to 3,000 euros per batch within the next 3-4 years, and that's just depending on scale. When we harvest at day 15-16, we do so at stellar quality, meaning high viability and high vitality of the cells. That has translated to us getting a 48-hour transport validation, meaning that we can cover all of Europe and the Middle East. Now, where is that platform then applied in the real world? Well, we do so in two branches. First one being in plastic surgery under the brand name STEMform, covering reconstructive surgery and cosmetic surgery. The second branch being osteoarthritis of the knee under the brand name STEMtreat. I'll get back into the status of those applications in a second, but I just want to highlight the broad applicability of mesenchymal stem cells in different indications. Some of them are listed here already. And indeed, we have already been approached by both companies and hospitals asking if we can produce mesenchymal stem cells for them for skin burn victims and wound healing. So we're actively also thinking of doing sort of a CMO leg. But let's go into the first application, which is in plastic surgery, where we have a natural filler on the market. And so as a plastic surgeon, a lot of what you do is replace lost volume. So this could be in a female cancer patient that have had a breast removal and mastectomy. It could also be in a traffic accident victim that has damages to the face. A lot of what a plastic surgeon will do is replace that lost tissue, that lost volume. Typically, that's done by, if it's the breast, by an implant. If it's the face, it's using artificial fillers, such as Restylane. But increasingly, the field is moving away from those artificial fillers. Case in point, Allergan had some of their implants pulled from the UK market a couple of years ago due to cancer signals. And so what they're moving towards is natural fillers, fat being the biggest one of them. So basically transplanting fat from one part of the body to another part of the body. The issue with transplanting fat is that on average, only about 45% of that graft survive, and that's actually covering a wide range. So anywhere between 20 and 80% of such a graft will die. That means that as a plastic surgeon, you have zero predictability in your work. The face that you just reconstructed, you don't know whether it'll look like that 1 month or 3 months from now. And so to compensate for that, you bring in the patients 3, 4, 5 times over a 2-3 year period to fill them up until you have the desired outcome. That, of course, drives cost and that drives patient burden. So the question is, can you increase that graft survival? And that's what we've figured out how to do in STEM Medical. So we basically found out that if you were to infuse a fat graft with mesenchymal stem cells, a very, very high number of mesenchymal stem cells, you could significantly improve that survival. And of course, that survival translates to retained volume. And so what we saw in our clinical trials was that we could take that retained volume of average 45% and bump it all the way up to 80%. This we published in The Lancet and in Stem Cells Translational Medicine. And interestingly, we have since then perfected our process even more. So now in our commercial patients, we have about 99 to 100% survivability of the graft, which means that as a plastic surgeon, you now have full predictability in your work and you can pull in the patients just once. I mentioned that we are launched. We're launched in Denmark as a commercial pilot. I say pilot because in cell therapy, there's a lot to be figured out in terms of logistics, patient sequencing between hospitals and your manufacturing, as well as just hospital onboarding. It's a big deal, but we've figured it out now. And so we're ready to launch in other countries. And so this fall, we're launching in UK. This winter, we are launching in Norway. Next year, we'll be launching in several European countries as well. And we're actually in fairly advanced conversations with partners in Middle East and Japan. So it's not infeasible that in 24 we'll also see a launch in UAE and Japan. So basically, I hope that I've sort of demonstrated that at least on our plastic surgery arm, we have sort of a very good trajectory right now. The second application is osteoarthritis of the knee. We call that our therapeutic application. The reason why we chose to go into that application is that it has a very strong fit with our platform. I'll get back to that in a second. But secondly, it's a very, very large indication. 10 to 13% of all individuals age 16 or above will have osteoarthritis in the knee. And there's currently nothing on the market that can halt or reverse progression, and we of course hope to be able to demonstrate that in our clinical trials. But in terms of match to our platform, so what we do is mesenchymal stem cells in fat, right? And interestingly, if you look at both those components individually, this is not our data, this is from academic groups. If you are to inject mesenchymal stem cells into the knee, that alone has a clinically meaningful effect on the patients, measured by what's called the WOMAC score, which is pain, stiffness, and function of the knee. So the more cells you inject, the better and earlier the function. Also, if you inject just adipose tissue, fat into a knee, that also has a clinically meaningful effect. This time, or in this case, measured by what's called the CORE score, which is WOMAC plus quality of life. So our idea is, of course, like if you combine those two things, it's probably not going to be worse. And that's indeed what we'll do in our phase 1 trial. We'll be the first ones to ever try the combination of those two. Not only will we be the first ones doing that, but because of our production platform where we can produce in so large numbers, compared to our competitors, we can go in with way higher numbers of mesenchymal stem cells. And so our best competitors are able to do 100 million, but in our phase 1, we'll test 400 million, 800 million, all the way up to above 1 billion mesenchymal stem cells injected. So we are launching our phase 1 trial in 24 with a readout in 25. We'll be doing it in collaboration with Sanos as our CRO. That's the same CRO that Novartis is using for their osteoarthritis trials. We'll have 20 patients in, 10 on an autologous arm and 10 on an allogenic arm. So we're quite excited about that. We're 20 people in the company. This is the senior management. It has a very good mix of people with a very strong scientific background, as well as medical background, but also industry professionals. I came in from Novo Nordisk, so did our CEO Klaus. And Klaus actually spearheaded the launch of Ozempic, which I think many of you guys know already. What are we doing here at LSI? So we're basically looking for investors. We're doing a 15 to 18 million Series B round that we hope to close by end of this year. We have about 7.5 in right now with a cornerstone investor, and we're looking for other investors to close the round. 80% of the round will go to basically funding the production scale up, so CapEx and OpEx on manufacturing. 10% of the round will go to funding the phase 1 trial, and the remaining 10% will go to overhead and marketing and sales. So I hope that I've given you guys appetite to look closer at STEM Medical, and I'm looking forward to see as many of you guys today and tomorrow. Also today at 6 p.m. we'll be doing a fireside and cocktail chat at the P41 bar at this hotel. So from 6 to 8, please swing by at P41 bar and meet the team. Thank you very much.